Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the John Campea Show here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an honor and a privilege, as it is every day, to have you guys joining me here to talk about all of our favorite things in the world, movies and some television and all that kind of stuff. And it's a special show today because it's finally happened, guys. Contrary to some theories and so whatever, the Star Wars A Solo trailer actually dropped. It actually played, and we are all just so tickled that it did. And not only did we get one Solo A Star Wars Story trailer, we actually ended up getting two, which is different than what I was expecting, to be honest. So anyway, this is what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about the Solo trailers a little bit more in depth. Then we're going to touch on the other Super Bowl trailer spots. That Mission Impossible trailer looked pretty damn good, didn't it? We're going to talk about some of the other Super Bowl spots that dropped as well. And then, as always, we're just going to throw open the second half of the show to your live comments, questions, your thoughts, your opinions, and we're going to take it from there. Now, normally on the John Campea Show, what we do is we take topics from emails that you guys send in to me. Now, today's a little bit different, obviously, but normally, how do you send in a topic or a question to be on the John Campea Show? It's simple. You just email me anytime at john@thejohncampeashow.com and put that word topic in the subject line, and maybe you'll see your email or topic pop up here on the show. Okay. Now, I'm just going to let you guys know, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different today from a technical point of view. Forgive me if everything goes awry, but I'm going to be trying some different stuff today. But let's talk about Solo. Let's talk about that Star Wars Solo trailer that we got. Actually, more than one trailer. We actually ended up getting two. And they also released a whole bunch of individual, I almost said solo posters. They also released a bunch of individual character posters. I think actually, I'll be honest with you, I think they all look great. I like, aside from what you think of the movie, aside from what we think of the trailer, just the posters, I think they look great. They're not the most original posters we have ever seen, no, but I'm not looking at them for originality at this point. I just think they look great. Donald Glover as Lando is completely crushing it. And I really like the pose with Alden Ehrenreich in that classic Han Solo pose. And of course, Chewbacca's Chewbacca. So that's looking pretty good to me as well. Okay. Now, let's go into these trailers. The first trailer dropped during the Super Bowl, and we were expecting that. But what we were expecting was a tease of the full trailer that would come the next day. What we actually got was a 1-minute trailer during the Super Bowl that ended up being really its own trailer. It wasn't just a snippet from the full trailer that came out the next day. It really is its own trailer. So let's go through this trailer here and see what we've got. Some of the things, first of all, getting a look inside that cockpit of the Falcon, that looks amazing. I absolutely love that. Then, this is what I like about this shot here. This is very much kind of what that George Lucas had talked about for a long time, was that whole idea of the lived-in universe. And what I love about this particular shot is the fact that it's not just a whole bunch of brand new shiny white things. We do get brand new shiny white things because it's sci-fi, but we also get shots like this. I love the aesthetic of it. It feels like a lived-in universe. So we go forward.
Yeah. Trust me, you're gonna love it.
I love that. I don't know if that's Tag from Tag and Big or whatever, but who knows me more. And this shot here of this Star Destroyer coming through the clouds. This is what everybody was talking about last night when this thing played at the at the Super Bowl. This thing coming through the clouds just got everybody super stoked. It's a beautiful shot. I love it. And of course, the TIE fighters looking a touch older, which is great. So I love that they didn't revamp the entire look of the TIE fighters. They look a touch older, but just barely older. And they also have a really nice, they use that traditional TIE fighter sound effect, which is really good.
Branch, are you interested in joining? I'm gonna be a pilot. Best in the galaxy.
Okay, here's one thing I really wanted to point out. When Solo says, pilot, I'm going to be the best in the galaxy. See, in this shot, and I'll see if I can get this queued up here. In this shot where he's talking to one of the Imperial officers here, that line, pilot, best in the galaxy, that feels right. That feels like something he would say in that situation. We're going to talk about, because we hear that same line in the next trailer, And I don't think that line worked in the next trailer. It came off wrong in the next trailer, but in this trailer, in context, the line works great. But we'll talk about the next trailer part when we get to it there in just a second. Okay, let's keep moving forward here. And obviously getting our first look at the Millennium Falcon. And one of the things everybody's excited about, of course, is that we're seeing it before the modifications that Han makes to it. So it's a much newer piece of junk at this point. It's probably a decade and a half, maybe even 2 decades earlier. I'm not thinking timelines off the top of my head right now, but it's a much newer ship, but also before Han makes all of his special modifications that he talks about in A New Hope. This summer. Okay, and that was one of the other questions. When they finally do put these spots out, are they going to announce it's moving to December? They didn't. They reaffirmed its opening on, I believe it's May 28th is the date that they're going for. So they reaffirmed that, so that's one thing. Now, of course, we get our first look at Khaleesi here. I'll be honest with you. I don't really get anything from her in this trailer, and that's neither good nor bad. I'm just saying the trailer's not really giving me much to have a thought on her in the trailers yet. This robot, I already know I'm going to love him. Because in the, I believe it's the next trailer, him and Londo give the kind of sign, which is great, but I can already tell this is going to be the new droid that, you know, in Rogue One we had Alan Tudyk's droid. I think this is going to be the droid in this one. By the way, I love that train. That train looks awesome. I don't know what it's for. Completely out of context, it looks awesome. Getting our first look at Woody Harrelson here. Now, I want you to notice, too, let me back this up for a second. This shot of Woody Harrelson that we're getting, that I totally went past here. Hold on a second. Yes, this look at Woody Harrelson. I want you to notice the environment, because the way the shots are edited together makes it look like he's saying, I'm looking for a crew. Chewbacca goes, that means yes, but that's in a winter environment. So this isn't the same conversation. They're edited together over different conversations. By the way, love the sound of the blasters. The classic Star Wars blaster sound sounds incredible to me. And of course, then we're getting our first look at Donald Glover as Lando. When we were sitting in here watching the Super Bowl last night, by the way, amazing game last night, fantastic game. Congrats to the Eagles. By the way, if you watched the show yesterday, I did say Eagles by 8. Just saying. Anyway, so fantastic game. Congrats to everybody. But when this shot came up when we were watching the trailer, everybody else, all of us in the room went, oh, getting our first look at Gambino as Lando. And come on, look at the look on his face in the fur coat. This is as Lando gets. You, Billy D. Williams. I mean, this is Billy D. Williams level Lando right here. I love it. And of course, another shot of the Falcon flying through stuff here. Good Falcon sounds. And a great way to end the teaser. Your name? And just Solo looking at the camera. Great. I mean, we loved it. I got online and I started putting out Solo on Twitter. I absolutely adore. And of course, also, let me back up to that a little for a second here if I can actually nail it. Of course, this shot, Chewie putting his arm on Solo's shoulder. It's great. It was a wonderful 44-second, 45-second spot. I quite enjoyed it an awful lot. So, really, we're going to be talking a little bit more as we go into it, I'm sure. I thought the spot was great for a quick little 45-second, what I like to call announcement trailers. I don't even call them teasers. I call them announcement trailers. It's like, hey, everybody, Solo's coming. It didn't tell us anything about the movie whatsoever. But it's just, hey, this movie's coming. Now, what I was expecting, and what I think probably a lot of you guys were expecting as well, was that the next day, we were kind of expecting maybe a 2-minute trailer that was everything we just saw in the teaser expanded. But what we actually got was a completely secondary trailer. It was a new trailer altogether. So let's jump in here and start taking a look at this second trailer that dropped this morning. And I'm going to tell you right now, I like the trailer, but I don't like it as much as the Super Bowl spot. And we'll go into why here in just a second. But let's dive into it here. Let's talk a little bit about this trailer here. First of all, again, starting with the internal shot cockpit, just seeing the hand, very iconic. I like the way they did that.
I've been running scams on the street since I was 10.
So giving you a little background on Solo, they started off running scams on the street since I was 10, blah, blah. So they're already character building with Solo, which was nice. I like that. Then we get some, again, that dirty lived-in feel of the universe, blasting through the streets in some kind of speeder.
I was kicked out of the
flight academy.
Kicked out of the flight academy. A little bit of reminiscing here on Star Wars Return of the Jedi with the stormtroopers on speeder bikes, a little bit of that. This is an old, broken down, beat down looking kind of speeder though, but I kind of dig it.
For having a mind of my own.
And here's the thing that I really like. Alden Ehrenreich, this is something that I like. And there's a few things I don't like about this trailer, but here's something I really like. Alden Ehrenreich is capturing the inflections of the Han Solo character. Like, kicked out of the academy for having a mind of my own. Like, just the way he says it. But I never once, and I love this, I never once got the feeling in either of these two trailers, and this is what I was worried about, but I never once got the impression that Alden Ehrenreich is trying to do a Harrison Ford impersonation. And I have been saying, if you guys remember, the moment they cast him, and I was talking about this stuff, I said, the one thing they cannot do is don't try to get Alden Ehrenreich, and Alden Ehrenreich yourself, don't just try to do a Harrison Ford impression, because that'll get real tired real fast. I said that like over a year ago. It'll get real tired real fast. You know, Chris Pine, when he took over the Captain Kirk role, he didn't try to do a William Shatner impersonation. He did his own. He captured the spirit of Kirk, but while giving his own presentation of it. And I really think that's what Alden Ehrenreich has to do. And you can hear he's not trying to impersonate Harrison Ford's voice, which is great, but he is capturing some of the mannerisms and inflections in the voice, and I appreciate that very much. So anyways, now we get some beautiful landscape shots here. This all looks good.
I'm gonna be a pilot. Best in the galaxy.
All right, remember I was talking about how in that first trailer, when he's talking to the Imperial guy, because there's a snarkiness to it, right? What are you going to be? I'm going to be a pilot, best in the galaxy. Like, it worked there. For whatever reason, in this context, let me back it up just a touch here. Back it up a bit more. Here it is.
Be a pilot. Best in the galaxy.
To me, using that same line out of context in the trailer, honestly, it had an Anakin in the Phantom Menace feel. I can almost hear Anakin's voice. I mean, Anakin's words were a little bit different. You're a pilot? Yep. All my life. But it almost felt like Anakin going, I'm going to be a pilot. Best in the galaxy. Like he's looking off to the stars. That doesn't feel like Han Solo. Now, thankfully, I saw that line spoken in context in the first trailer, and it works. But I'm telling you, if I hadn't seen that first trailer first to hear the line spoken in context, I think I would have been, like, puking. Because out of context, I want to be a pilot, best in the galaxy. I think I honestly would have vomited a little bit. I think I would have thrown up a little bit. Thankfully, I did see it in context, but that was not a good snippet to drop into this trailer. That part really didn't work for me. Of course, now here we're getting a shot of him looking at the Falcon, which is fabulous. I love this shot, him just standing there. It's almost like there's destiny here in him looking up at the ship, which is going to become totally intertwined with his destiny, which is great.
Hey, kid.
Here we go.
Putting together a crew.
Remember I was talking about this a little bit. We got Woody Harrelson. Hey, kid, I'm putting together a troop, but it's kind of sandy. It's beachy. It's deserty kind of in a way. Then immediately they make this fake cut to Chewie responding and him saying, he says yes, as if the conversation was, I'm putting together a crew. Yes, these are two different conversations we see play out here. Again, Donald Glover looking awesome as Lando. I love this. Probably in a game of Sabacc right there. Okay, now this is interesting. What I am really curious about is this, and I'm suspecting is this Sana Staros, or Sana Solo, as they call her in the comic books. If some of you guys remember, in the Star Wars comic books, which they say are canon, this woman shows up out of nowhere and pronounces herself Mrs. Solo, that she's married to Han. Now, as it turns out, she wasn't. It was just a part of a scam. But I remember the entire Star Wars world was buzzing when this woman comes off of her ship and goes, I'm Sasa, or what's her first name again? I wrote it down. Yeah, Sana. I'm Sana Solo. And the whole world lost his mind. Han Solo was married. He's been running around with Princess Leia when he was actually married to somebody else. Turns out he wasn't actually married to her. The hair's a bit different. But obviously people are going to talk, is this her? Is this the woman that he pulls some scams with that later kind of when she runs into Princess Leia, pronounces herself as Han's wife. Maybe, maybe not, we'll have to see. But obviously there's going to be a lot of speculation about that. Now, okay, let me get back to that shot here for a second. I will admit, when I saw this shot at first, honestly, hey, don't lie. Don't lie. Let's go back to this a second. At first, when you're not able to pause it, I admit for a second, I was like, wait a minute, was that Maz Kanata? That was just there. Let's back this up for a second and take a look. Okay, in full speed, it looks a little bit like it's Maz Kanata. Now, fortunately, we have the technology to freeze frame it and grab it. This is a four-armed person that is not Maz Kanata at all, but I will admit, I was taken for a second. I thought just for a moment that might have been Maz Kanata. Okay, let's keep moving. And now, this shot, is this Han? I'm way reading into this, but is this Han standing at the legendary Sabacc game, where maybe eventually he wins the Millennium Falcon? I don't know that this is happening. That seems like it's a little bit too soon, but it seems to me like he's standing in front of a Sabacc game, which is, of course, infamous in the Star Wars universe.
You in?
There's the second part of the scene.
That's yes.
I like the way he says it. That's yes. And I love this next scene between Lando in the cockpit of the Falcon with his little droid. I want to back it up for a second so we can see it in motion. Feels very Lando-ish to me.
That's yes.
Love that. Thought that was great. Then, of course, some modern stuff with the universe. Okay, can I talk about this shot for a second? This is the shot, to me, of this second trailer. It feels weird to say this is the second trailer when we got our first trailer like 12 hours ago, but this, to me, is the shot of the second trailer. Han Solo, we're assuming it's Solo, maybe it's Woody Harrelson, who knows, but I'm assuming it's Solo, about to have a duel. And you know who's going to shoot first. You know who's going to shoot first in this duel. It's going to be Solo, and I'm really excited. I love this shot. This is an old Western kind of gunslinger shot right there on the hilt where the gun is. Him unclipping the strap on it. He's going to pull the gun. I just love this shot. To me, I paused this like 50 times this morning just to look at this shot. Took a screenshot of it. Love this shot. It's perfect.
Who knows?
Okay, so we got our guy here who we see, this dude here that you see right here. This dude we see a little bit later, or what we saw a little bit earlier. Remember we saw that shot of Solo like on top of the moving train shooting at somebody? This is the dude that was running after him, or at least it's this somebody wearing the exact same outfit. So I'm guessing this is our antagonist for the film. I don't know that for sure, but I'm guessing this is our antagonist. Now, some people got excited at this shot thinking, oh my goodness, there's Darth Vader. And again, much like my Maz Kanata mistake, when you just watch it in full motion, you would be forgiven if you thought just for a second it's Darth Vader. But I actually pulled a still here up of the shot. This ain't Vader. You can see this isn't Vader. First of all, Vader doesn't carry around a couple of sidearm pistols, wearing black robe. Now, I thought maybe for a second, because if you look at the helmet, it's not a helmet, it's a hat. So I will confess, for a moment, I thought that there was a possibility that this might have been Cad Bane. Just for the colors are wrong, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but if I was just speculating as a fan, I thought just for a second, maybe there's a possibility that's Cad Bane. I don't think so now. There's just I've just been looking at too many other pictures of Bane. There's too many differences here. So I'm not on that boat anymore, but it's clearly this isn't Darth Vader. But again, you would have been totally forgiven if you thought for a second, just in that quick snippet as it was going by so fast, that maybe that was Vader. But again, I think this still shot pretty much confirms, holding out his dual blasters, all that kind of stuff. It's not Vader. But hey, who knows who that could be? Another new character altogether, maybe Lando in disguise. Who knows? I'm sure there's a lot of things coming up. All right, let's keep rolling here through the trailer.
What you really are.
And what you really are.
What's that?
And he says, what's that? First of all, he's totally got down Han Solo's shit-eating grin. He does. He's got that down. He says, what's that? You know what's coming next, right? A scoundrel. That's the line. At least I hope that's the line that comes next. The line has got to be a scoundrel. The trailer almost sets it up that they're expecting you to hear that line and say that. What's that? A scoundrel. But they don't play it in the trailer, obviously. And you know what? I want to go back to this for a second. Look at this for a second. I love this. This to me is Solo mannerism. He's got the shit-eating grin, then he realizes he's in trouble, and he kind of loses the grin. That is so Solo. Watch it again.
What's that?
Watch. And then the little nervous, it goes from, oh, hey, hey, it's you. I love that. That was really solid. Okay, let's keep going here. Not thrilled with the title card. I honestly don't know what I would do different. To be honest, I don't know what I would do different. Seems a little shiny to me, but whatever. It's just a title card. Won't make the movie good or bad. And then, of course... Now, remember I said the shot of the trailer was the gun shot, and I still think that was, with the gun on the hip, getting ready to have a draw. This, to me, is the other real embodiment of who Han Solo is without doing a Han Solo impersonation. This dialogue here was great. Look at the look on Lando's face in the back. This is great. You got Chewie in the co-pilot seat. This is wonderful. I got a feeling this is probably third act of the film.
Get ready.
There you go. And then the line.
We're in trouble there for a second, but it's fine. We're fine.
But it's fine. We're fine. I love that. Of course, call back to the original Star Wars. I like that line an awful lot. Now, here's another part of the trailer I do not like. What is it lately with filmmakers' obsession with giant tentacles? I'm not talking about Japanese porn makers. I'm talking about, like, filmmakers. Even Rogue One had to have a creature with giant tentacles. What is the obsession with giant tentacle monsters? Because, first of all, I hated that one. The other part I really didn't like in this trailer was the misuse out of context of the line, I'm going to be a pilot, best in the galaxy. It didn't work in this trailer. Worked great in the other one, not in this one out of context. This is my other big problem with this trailer. And honestly, hopefully this is just a momentary thing in the movie and it's not a big part. But what is it with giant tentacle monsters? I mean, let me back this up a second here.
We're fine.
Giant tentacle monsters. Now, some people might say, and I understand, so John, this is reminiscing back to Empire when they pilot the Millennium Falcon out of the space slug and his teeth are growing. Okay, yeah, I see that. I see the similarities. I see it as a little bit of callback. But again, I'm just not... it's somebody in the live chat board is saying there's always a bigger fish. Yeah, that's what it kind of feels like. I'm just not into the giant tentacle monster. Again, I'm not going to get too terribly worked up about it. Maybe it's in the... Literally, maybe this is the only shot. That giant tentacle monster in space is in the movie. And maybe it's not. But it's coming Memorial Day. And the film is not yet rated. So there we have it, guys. Those are the first two trailers we've gotten for Solo. Absolutely love the first one. I thought the second one was solid. It's good. I'm just so glad. Like, it's funny how in trailers, one detail can really spoil an entire trailer. Because a trailer is like less than 2 minutes long. This one's like 1:45. A single detail can spoil a whole trailer. And honestly, had I not seen the Super Bowl trailer, and it's just worth repeating, with the line, I'm going to be pilot best in the galaxy, in context in the first trailer, that really works and it's great. Had I not seen that trailer and just saw this one, I would have been soured on this trailer from the beginning with that, with white, beautiful halls. I'm going to be a pilot, the best in the galaxy. It probably would have soured me on the entire trailer. Thankfully, I did see it in context. I feel okay about it. And then I was able to just move on and enjoy the rest of it. I really like that Alden Ehrenreich, who is a terrific actor. If you don't know how good of an actor Alden Ehrenreich is, go and watch Hail Caesar, where he outperforms some of the biggest names in Hollywood in that movie. He's so good in Hail Caesar. That's what got him this role. He's a very good actor. Doesn't mean he's going to give us a great Solo, but I got to say that I am encouraged by this trailer that he's not trying to do some lame Harrison Ford impersonation. And I'm getting so tired. I know some of you mean well, I know, but some of you people saying they should have gotten this guy, this internet impersonator who does a great Harrison Ford impersonation to be the lead of a film. It's like, guys, that's not the criteria you use for casting the lead of a movie. And you don't, and trust me, you would get tired of the Han Solo impression. You would get tired of the Harrison Ford impression after about 15 minutes. We got to be able to buy into Alden Ehrenreich. Now, will we buy into Alden Ehrenreich? It's too soon to say. Even though I like the trailer, it's too soon to say that we will. if you don't like the trailer, it's too soon to say that you won't either. So it doesn't go either way. But I am encouraged that he's not just trying to pull some kind of some cheap Harrison Ford impersonation. He's capturing the inflections and the spirit, I believe, of Solo without trying to do a flat-out Solo impersonation. So on those levels, I appreciate what they're doing. I like what I'm seeing. So that's my thought on the Solo trailer stuff, guys. I'm sure there's a lot of opinions out there. Me, personally, I preferred the first one over the second one, but still the second one's pretty solid if you take away that I'm going to be a pilot kind of line out of context. So there you have it. All right, now there were some other Super Bowl trailers as well that dropped that we should talk about here for a second. First and foremost, of course, was that Avengers trailer. And by the way, these are being pulled from the full credit to the USA Today, who did a really good job of pulling these trailers together. So they pulled together this list of some of the key trailers that played. The Avengers one was okay. I'm just going to mute it here. The Avengers one was all right. A lot of people just standing around looking concerned and looking stoic, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. This interesting shot of Peter in space. I will say that shot was kind of neat, though, if I can capture it. We got Captain America, Vision, and Black Widow walking down the hall together. That's it. So Vision ends up in Wakanda, so that's interesting to see. But other than that, there's not a lot. Oh, and of course, Cap's new vibranium shield. Not as big as his other one, but it looks Wakandan, so that's cool. So moving forward into it, seeing the characters, some rushing of the troops coming out, kind of saw that before. Nothing here we haven't really seen already in the other trailers. So that's fine. A different shot of Thanos' face from a different angle. So it was fine. Nothing wrong with that. It was fine. And one I was not thrilled with was the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom one. As a matter of fact, this opening kind of made me feel like I was watching a commercial first. Because you know that commercials will sometimes play in front of trailers. I saw this look like it was a commercial for something. John, it was a commercial. It was a trailer. Okay, yeah, I know what you're saying. Again, but I'm not thrilled with this. I think I like this spot a little bit better than I like the first Jurassic World trailer, because I did not like the first Jurassic World, the first Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom trailer. I think this one's okay, but again, not really thrilled with what they're giving me here. At least I get a little bit more of a concept of the overall idea of the film. This whole shot was nice of the monster coming down the pipeline. That one was kind of cool. But again, not completely thrilled with it, and a lot of stuff that we've seen in another spot. To me, a lot of people are talking Mission Impossible. I'm not going to disagree per se. But the spot I really dug was the Quiet Place one. And you know what? If anything, there are people who have been running around suggesting that A Quiet Place is actually a Cloverfield movie. And you know what? I still don't believe it is, but oh my God, if you're somebody who believes that A Quiet Place is actually a Cloverfield movie, I think this movie will do nothing but embolden you to believe that. Like, I still don't believe it's a Cloverfield movie, but watching this trailer, if you're somebody who does believe it's a Cloverfield movie, this trailer will do nothing but really shore you up in that belief that it's a Cloverfield. I like this trailer very much. And the fact that the one that's online has a bunch of John Krasinski talking about the movie, like the actor behind the scenes talking about the movie, and that was really good too. You should check it out if you haven't seen it yet. Another one that I liked quite a bit. I'm looking forward to this movie more and more. I was a little skeptical about Red Sparrow when we first saw some things coming out from it, but I will admit it is growing on me a lot. And I'm now to the point that I'm very excited. Some people say it's a Black Widow movie. Okay, I get it, why would it? But look, whether it's La Femme Nikita or some other stuff, this isn't a brand new formula. We've seen this kind of formula before. But it's growing on me. And I'm actually getting kind of excited about it, and I like this trailer. Skyscraper, the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson one, I gotta say, it's not bad. It's my first look at the film, as it was for most of us. It's piqued my curiosity. The whole notion of him having an artificial leg, so he's a partial amputee, he's handicapped in some way. That's interesting. We've never really seen that with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson before in a movie. It's got a little bit of a Die Hard feel to it. Could be exciting, could be fun. Look, I really thought the San Andreas, the earthquake film he did, I thought that looked really stupid, but the way they navigated the film, it was actually quite entertaining. Maybe they can pull the same thing off here. That's just too long of a jump, by the way. That jump would not work. And then there's the trailer that really most people were talking about. And that is, of course, the new Mission Impossible spot. Seeing Superman in there throwing his punches. Of course, they do the little teaser to the trailer first and they play into it. So you get some wide, breathtaking cityscape shots. You know, it's action, action, action. This trailer is trying to sell you on the idea that this is going to be a heart-pounding action kind of film with all the stuff that we love about these characters all brought into it at once. We're going to see Tom Cruise doing some of his crazy stunts. Pardon me, and we get to see some of that whole helicopter stuff that he does at the same time. That's pretty cool. Has seen Henry Cavill in there. His fight scene looks really great too. Again, these are just little quick snippets. But remember, I say this all the time, the job of a trailer is to get us more excited and to build our anticipation for the next movie. And this does it to me. My anticipation for this, I was already excited about it. This trailer sold me on it. My anticipation level for the movie has come up. Now, then one of the big surprises was, you know, the announcement that came out yesterday was, hey, guess what, guys? That Cloverfield movie, it's dropping right after the Super Bowl. I put up my review for Cloverfield Paradox. It's on my YouTube channel right now. You can go and check that out. I'll tell you right off the bat, go and check out my more detailed review. I thought it was okay. It did some things well, some things not so well. I can see why Paramount didn't really want to release this in theater. But it's okay for a Netflix film, but I can see why Paramount did not want to release this thing in theater. All right, guys, that's it for my rundown of all the stuff that we got to see from the Super Bowl spots. Like I said, the Solo trailers, love the first one. Thought the second one was solid, understanding this cheesy line in context. But I'm sure you guys have a lot of input and a lot of things you want to say. So, jump on in and start leaving comments, guys. It's time for us to go to the live comments. Now, before I get to those live comments, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my daily 1-minute commercial break. So hang in there with me where I do my I admit it, this is a shameless plug for the thing that keeps the lights on around here, which is my Patreon campaign. So here, check this out. I'll be back in just 1 minute. For those of you who have followed me for any period of time, you guys know that I made the decision recently to leave the corporate overlords. I no longer wanted to work for corporations. I wanted to be an independent content creator. And the only way I've been able to do that is by the support of my Patreon supporters. So what I would like to do is to ask you guys who watch my shows, who spend any amount of time with me every single month, to consider going over to www.patreon.com/John Campea. There you'll get all the information about what exactly does it mean to be a Patreon supporter of mine? What does being a Patreon supporter do for helping to make sure that shows like this one and all the other shows I do here on my channel can actually be produced? And on top of that, what benefits are there to being a Patreon supporter? And maybe if you guys can check that out, if you decide you want to be one of my Patreon supporters, that would be awesome. And if you don't, that's perfectly fine too. I'm just happy that you guys have decided to be here today and be a fellow movie fan and join us in the conversation. So go and check out the website, see if you want to become a Patreon supporter. And now let's get back. All right, and a special thank you to all of you guys who are already Patreon supporters. You make this channel possible. All right, guys, with that out of the way, let's jump over to the live questions you guys have been sending in via Super Chat. And by the way, guys, there's already a ton in there. You've got 30 seconds to put in another Super Chat or another comment if you'd like, and then we're going to have to cut it off. All right, this one comes to us from Sam Fisher, who writes, was that Williams' new theme we heard in the Solo trailer? I hope so. It sounds just like Luke's, but with a harder edge. Always pictured that. Perfect for Han. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you, what elements were there and what weren't. I just do know that at the last part of the trailer, when they have a fuller orchestra going, those slower notes, ba 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 boom. That was actually kind of a nice musical hit for me. It's a good question, Sam. I haven't looked into it, but maybe you guys can look into it who are watching live and leave in your thoughts. All right, Alex Brown writes, do you know what happened to the Richard Pryor biopic with Mike Epps? P.S. Fly, Eagles, Fly. It's still going. Look, Lee Daniels, who was going to direct it, he's no longer directing. It feels like the movie's had 3 or 4 directors. Lee Daniels was going to direct it. He's no longer directing. He's now producing it. Mike Epps is still attached. Lee Daniels just said a couple of months ago that the project's still on, that they've got a finished script, but they're just looking for a director right now. So take that for what it's worth. So technically speaking, it's still alive. They've got a script. They're looking for a director. But I believe they said that months ago like maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and we still don't have a director, at least officially named, I don't think, and no official start date, no release date, nothing like that. So it's still technically on, but I think it's on life support at this point. I won't be surprised if we find out that the project gets scrapped. I won't be surprised if we find out it gets announced tomorrow. So we'll have to kind of wait and see, but technically speaking, Alex, it is still alive. Ben Rayner writes, do you think Justin Timberlake would make a good host for the Oscars? No, absolutely not. He's a terrific entertainer. I'm a huge Justin Timberlake fan of him as an entertainer. But no, I don't think he'd make a good Oscar host. Ben Rayner writes, Solo trailer got me excited, but don't know if I'm 100% bought into Aaron, I think you meant Alden, as Han. I was hoping I would be from the trailer. It's going to be a tricky thing for a movie to do. Well, here's the thing. The only way, no one trailer was going to make you buy into him as Han, unless he did a straight-up Harrison Ford impression. And that would be bad for the movie. But it might make you buy into him in a quick trailer. So nothing that he could have done, because he wasn't going to do a straight Harrison Ford impersonation. So nothing he could have done in the trailer will make you buy into Alden Ehrenreich right off the bat. There's nothing he could have done that would have done that. So it's okay that you didn't buy into him. It's totally understandable that you didn't buy into him immediately. Even although I have high hopes for him, I didn't buy into him immediately. I'm still not 100% bought into him. I just believe that he is a great actor. I like what I'm seeing, that he's not doing the impression and that he seems to be catching a lot of the inflections in Han's speech pattern. I'm encouraged by that, but it's just not enough to sell me on it 100%. So in no way should you feel bad that you're not sold on it 100% yet either. I don't think we will be until we see the movie, one way or the other. So don't feel bad about that, Ben. Jacob Vanko writes, is Alden Ehrenreich Han Solo too soon to call? Completely agree, Jacob. It's too soon to call. Like I said, I am encouraged by a couple of things. I know he's a very good actor because I've seen him. I am encouraged by some of the things I've seen in the trailer, but you're 100% right. It is too soon to call. We are simply going to have to wait till we see the movie so we can watch him as Han Solo for 10, 15, 20 minutes before we really know. And that's just one of the unfortunate things about it. Siobhan writes, I love that Infinity War TV spot, nerdgasm all the way. And how about that bleeding edge Iron Man armor and Cap's new Wakandan shield, Spidey in space? Yeah, I gotta admit, I wasn't thrilled with the trailer. Don't get me wrong. You know I'm looking forward to this movie. I am totally looking forward to the movie. As a shield, I feel like it could be a little bigger. Like Cap is used to using a shield that's this big and gives him lots of coverage. This shield's like this narrow and this long. It's like, oh, okay, that'll help a little bit. He can block his eyes. I'm going to have to see it in action. K Major writes, have you tried dodging trailers before? I don't know what that means, K Major, to be honest with you. Andy A. Hernandez writes, the new movie Game Night coming out, is it any good in your opinion? I haven't seen it yet, but I'm encouraged. Of course, you got Jason Bateman in Game Night. You got Rachel McAdams, Good Canadian Girl. It is one of the movies I'm looking forward to this month. It's absolutely one of the movies I'm looking forward to this month. I think I talked about that on the show the other day, about how, hey, besides Black Panther, what movies should we be really looking forward to? And I said the two besides Black Panther in February I'm really looking forward to are Annihilation and Game Night. I think Game Night has that potential to be really funny. It could be terrible, too, at the same time. But I think it looks pretty good. Siobhan writes, man, for those last 30 seconds of the MI Fallout trailer were mind-blowing. Mission Impossible is one of the best action franchises right now. Cruise has balls of steel. He absolutely does. And I'll say this. I think Mission Impossible is one of the best action franchises right now. I'm not a huge fan of Mission Impossible 1 or Mission Impossible 2. Mission Impossible 3 is when it started to turn around for me. And it's been on a really good streak lately. So I will agree that right now, it seems to be one of the best action franchises currently. Calvin Severo writes, John, can the absence of the names of people making Solo in the trailer and online posters have anything to do with the dispute in the director credit? For those who don't know what Calvin's asking, and by the way, we don't know if there's a dispute, but there has been a big question. Who is going to get director credit for Star Wars Solo, for Solo, a Star Wars story? You know what, guys? I just hate a Star Wars story. I think that's a stupid name. I was going to call it Star Wars Solo. So who's going to get director credit for Star Wars Solo? The reality is, because you had, Lord and Miller do a whole bunch of it, but Ron Howard practically redid the entire thing. Who's going to get director's credit? Nobody gets to decide that except for the Directors Guild of America. Warner Brothers doesn't get to decide, Disney and Lucasfilm does not get to decide who gets director's credit. Unless they want to give Ron Howard director's credit and Lord and Miller have no objection. But if Lord and Miller object, then it goes to the Directors Guild of America. And the Directors Guild of America will have a whole bunch of criteria to which they will decide who gets director's credit. And so what does it matter? Well, a lot of money could change hands depending on who gets director's credit and all that kind of stuff, who's entitled to certain royalties and all that kind of crap. It could be a big deal. So even if Lord Miller really want nothing to do with Solo anymore, financially, they may want to get that director's credit nod, which is understandable. And if the Directors Guild of America deems that, hey, you know what? Enough of the movie is still the movie they shot, then they should get credit. But it's not up to us to decide that. It's not up to Lord Miller to decide that. It's not up to Ron Howard to decide it. It's not up to Disney to decide it. It's up to the Directors Guild of America. So we will find out what they say in the coming days. Let's see. Trojan of Narnia writes, is 90% of your channel supported by Ben Rayner, Siobhan, Super Chats? You guys rock. Keep up the great questions. No, well, actually, you know, the funny thing is Siobhan, a lot of people get confused because they see like 100 beside Siobhan's name. That's actually in rupees. That is actually about $1.30. So no, but I really appreciate guys like you and everybody else who choose to help support the channel by using Super Chat. It really helps the channel out a lot, and I appreciate you guys very much. Siddhara Gupta writes, that fight scene in MI6 though, Superman punches. Yeah, that's one of the things I liked about, like I said, they decided, you can tell their philosophy of making this trailer was tell the audience they're going to get through the wall action, and that's what the trailer delivered. Mason Barr writes, Dundee trailer, still wishing it was a film. McBride and Hemsworth together seems like quite a treat. I gotta admit, look, I really like Danny McBride and I love Chris Hemsworth, but and while it's cute in the little trailer, I have a feeling the shtick of that would wear off in about 5 minutes. I really do. I have a feeling the shtick of that little stuff, that thing they got going on, I have a feeling I would probably be over it in about 5 minutes, and it would start to tire on me. You know what I'm saying? But hey, a lot of people think it's great. Siobhan writes, even the trailers, Alden doesn't seem like a good actor. I have a bad feeling. Oh, I disagree with you, Siobhan, 100%. Like, if you look, normally, here's what I'm not saying there are people who aren't like this. I'm just saying this has been my experience, okay? Everybody I've actually been in any conversation with that says, I hear Alden Ehrenreich isn't a good actor, okay? This has just happened to me every time. I'm not saying what your experience has been. I'm just telling this is what my experience has been, okay? I've always been asked, did you see Hail Caesar? Without exception, everybody I've talked to who has expressed that they don't know that Alden Ehrenreich's a good actor, and I ask, have you seen Hail Caesar? They all say no. So it's difficult. Watch Hail Caesar, and then you will appreciate how good of an actor Alden Ehrenreich can be. So yeah, I'm totally on board for him. Hand-to-hand combat in MI looks amazing. Do you think we'll see tentacles or legs pop out in the Iron Man spider suit just like it does in the comics? I'm not sure. I hope they don't go that silly. Look, I'm also one of the guys, I don't like him having an iron spider suit. Call me more of a purist. We've had one movie with Spider-Man, and I don't want Spider-Man to be Iron Man Jr. And I'm sorry, but I love Spider-Man Homecoming. But one of my problems with it was that they made Peter, they devalued Peter, and they devalued the specialness of the character by, with that Spider-Man armor they gave him, making him Iron Man Jr. To me, it was like saying Spider-Man isn't good enough. Spider-Man as a character isn't good enough. We need to make him Iron Man Jr. And I'm not a fan of it, to be honest with you. I really hope that in Infinity War, and I don't know what they're going to do with them, I hope they play up Spider-Man in it and not the armor that Stark makes for him. I want Peter to be the hero, not whatever gizmo Tony builds into his armor. And I know I'm in the minority on that, but I want Spider-Man, not Iron Man Jr. Just saying. I love Iron Man, but, that's just kind of the way I thought about it. Hey, John, what do you think about Red Letter Media's Nerd Podcast parodies regarding Star Wars trailer breakdowns? I've seen one or two Red Letter Media stuff before. I don't really know anything much about them, so anything I say would kind of probably be unfair. So really no input, really no comment on that. Caden Staub writes, Seeing the Solo trailer makes me wonder why I ever doubted Disney/Lucasfilm. Also, give Cap his effing shield. Not a fan of the black shields. May the Force be with you. I mean, look, maybe we'll see Cap use that shield in an amazing way. And one of the advantages the shield that obviously the Wakandan government gives him is that it seems to contract. So that is an advantage for him over his old shield. But you're right, I want to see Cap with his Cap shield. I mean, nothing against the new vibranium shield. It's just that I want to see that old Cap shield, so I hope he gets it back somehow. I just don't know how he would get it back. I don't know how they would explain that. Gabriel Mengesha writes, hey, John, great as always. Do you think the Dundee commercial becomes viral? They will greenlight a full movie? No, don't think they will. We've talked about that in previous shows. I really don't think. I think the shtick of it is cute for a minute or two. I don't think that plays out into a full movie. Daryl Best Wadley writes, have you ever seen White Men Can't Jump? Oh, yeah, with Woody Harrelson? Yeah, absolutely. And Wesley Snipes? Yeah, it's fun movie, man. It's a great, like, some people put it as like one of the all-time great classics. I don't think it's that good, but I thoroughly enjoy it. Whenever I watch it, I thoroughly enjoy White Man Can't Jump. Keith Franklin writes, trailers look great. Question, isn't it overblown about the cost change because of reshoots? Effects, second unit photos, post-production, not redone. It's, no, look, when you are, the biggest expense of a film is having 500 people to 1,000 people on payroll, working full-time, every day, locations, props, blah, blah, and blah, blah, blah. That's why most movies shoot in about 12 weeks or less. A lot of people think it takes 5 years to make a movie. Well, maybe from concept to finish, but you are actually shooting a movie, most movies, for anywhere between 10 to 12 weeks. There are exceptions. There are totally exceptions. But that's usually it. Ron Howard was reshooting this movie for over 3 months. So he was doing reshoots for as long or longer as you would normally shoot a regular movie. And that's the most expensive part. Having 1,000 people on payroll, full-time, it adds up, man. And I do not think it's being overblown how much that might have added to the overall cost of this film. I think it added significantly to the overall cost of the film. I really do. How much? I'm not really sure, but we'll find that out, I'm sure. Phil Lee writes, regarding DeVoe on Flash, can a bad villain kill an entire season? Should they experiment and go the S.H.I.E.L.D. way and have 3 minimum story arcs instead? Well, here's the problem, Phil. Yes, a bad villain can potentially ruin a season. The reason DeVoe hasn't ruined this season for me, because I'm not a fan of the DeVoe villain, is that they're doing a lot of episodes without DeVoe. So there have been enough episodes this season that I've really quite enjoyed, so that I wouldn't say that this season of Flash is ruined for me. I still enjoy it. I just don't enjoy the episodes with DeVoe. The thing is, there have been other seasons that the villain has been great, and they've worked because the villain is great. And like when, the first time they went with the Reverse Flash and stuff like that, I even like the Zoom stuff very much. So, I mean, whatever you do, it's a risk. Because to me, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't work. It could work, but it just doesn't. So obviously the formula of, do you use one overarching villain? Do you use several villains of the week? The answer is neither. The answer is you still got to make a great show. So it's possible. Maybe you minimize the risk, Phil, that way. But I think also Flash has shown that you can have a villain run through an entire season and it works really well. So they just happen to land on a villain that I don't think works very well. But that's just my opinion. Thanks a lot for the question, Phil. Appreciate that. Rodrigo Ramirez writes, in my digital media class, as I write this, awesome. Thanks for watching. Send help. Also, I like the look of the Han Solo movie. It gave me a gangsterish heist vibe. Yeah, me too. And I think we'll get more of an idea of the film when they put out their next full trailer. Like even this one was like 1:45. When we get our first 2-minute 20, 2-minute 30-second trailer, which will probably come within another month or so, I think that's going to give us a better feel for what the tone of the film overall is going to be. James B. writes, does it look like Han and Chewie already know each other? Possibly a meeting, a flashback scene in the film. Well, the description of the film that Lucasfilm officially put out, one of the things they mentioned in the official synopsis is, I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember the exact wording, but it's something along the lines of, watch as Han meets Chewie. So maybe we see it in a flashback, maybe we see it more prevalently. Obviously, the scenes we see in the trailer, he already knows him. But those could be later in the movie. We just don't know yet. So it's tricky to speculate that much this early in advance. Christopher Benson writes, Mr. Campea, have you seen the trailer for Black Dynamite 2? I know you enjoy the first one. I'm looking forward to the sequel. I haven't seen a trailer for it. I heard it's coming. If you guys have been watching me for any period of time, but every month or so, I like to drop a Black Dynamite reference. I love Black Dynamite. What Michael Jai White did with that character is so relentlessly entertaining. It's just crazy. And then, of course, we heard the other day, Michael Jai White gets online, Black Dynamite 2, he's back, whatever the tweet was. I got super excited. So, no, I've not seen a trailer. I'll keep my eyes open for. I didn't know one was out, to be honest with you. I've been too caught up in the Super Bowl stuff. But looking forward to seeing it. I'm very excited for this movie. Very excited for the movie. Punit writes, do you like the music choices in the Solo trailer? The Rock Star Wars kind of theme. Thanks and keep up the great work. You know, I didn't really think about it the first time I saw the trailer, but the second and third time I walked through, I thought, I dig the music choices. It fits. Like, I'm not going to pop it in my car as I'm driving and listen to the trailer soundtrack at all, but it fit for the trailer. So I'll say, yeah, I'm down for it. I'm into it. Cameron Schofeld writes, what are some of your favorite movies based on Stephen King books? Shawshank, The Shining, Stand By Me. Well, to me, it all starts and ends with Shawshank Redemption. It always has been in my top 10 best films ever made. I firmly believe it's one of the top 10 best films ever made. Shawshank Redemption is, to me, without a doubt. And there have been some great movies that didn't win Best Picture. But to me, without a doubt, no movie embodies a film that should have won Best Picture in its year than Shawshank Redemption. Now, it was tough because the year Shawshank Redemption was out, you know what else is out? Tom Hanks' Forrest Gump. A lot of people love that movie. But you go to top 10, top 20 film lists, you will way more often than not find Shawshank Redemption on those lists than Forrest Gump. And not taking anything away from Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump is a terrific movie. It's a beloved movie, absolutely. But Shawshank Redemption is just in a league of its own. That Shawshank Redemption is a masterclass in filmmaking. I love that movie. Anyway, Franklin Donahue writes, hey, John, do you think Black Panther will break box office records by appealing to the non-white demographic, like has worked so well for the Fast and Furious franchise? Well, it depends on which box office records you're talking about. Will it break the opening weekend box office record? No, it won't. Will it break the all-time domestic record? No, it won't. Will it break the all-time worldwide record? No. But the one record we've been talking about that it does have a solid chance of breaking is the record for first solo film. So other films like that would include Deadpool 1, Spider-Man 1, Iron Man 1, Captain America, The First Avenger, like first films for a superhero solo film. Wonder Woman, for example. Black Panther, the current record holder for best opening weekend for a first solo film is Deadpool with like $136, $137 million opening weekend, somewhere around there. I believe Black Panther has a solid chance at breaking that record. Now, do I think it has a chance at that record because it appeals to the non-white demographic? Well, that is certainly a part of it, sure. But I think it has a chance to break that record just because this movie is fucking awesome. It's an awesome movie. You're going to love it. I mean, most people are going to love this film. And that's the reason it's getting huge positive buzz, huge positive word of mouth. So the trailers have been fantastic. That's the main reason it has a shot at breaking that record. Certainly, its appeal to the non-traditional all-white demographic is going to play a role in that, for sure. But if it breaks the record, it's going to be because it's just that damn good of a movie, and it's going to get that type of positive buzz out there. Thanks a lot for the question, Franklin. Daniel writes, have you seen Peaky Blinders? You know what? I have. And I know it's the cool thing to say you love it. I didn't like it. I tried 4 episodes. I had some friends of mine that I love their taste in movies, and they loved it. Wow, today's show's gone really overtime. But I just could not. It wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me. Tom Butterfingers writes, Brady, hey man, Brady, 500 and what was his final number? 505 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. It was an MVP game. He played an MVP game, but unfortunately, Tom Brady can't play defense. And apparently neither can the New England defense play defense. Actually, neither team's defense showed up in this game. It was a great game. And I told you all, I told you from the beginning. I said on that first podcast when Wentz went down and somebody jumped in my chat and said, hey, do you think the Eagles season is done? And I said, hell no. Nick Foles is for real. And I told people that and nobody believed me. And I told them and I told them and I told them. And if you guys remember, on my prediction yesterday, I said Eagles by 8. That was my prediction yesterday, Eagles by 8. Turned out to be Eagles by 8, but what a great game. It was a fabulous game. I'm super proud of the Patriots. 8 Super Bowl appearances in Tom Brady's era. That will never be repeated. That no quarterback will ever have that legacy of success. It'll never happen. And what a game he played. 505 yards, 3 touchdowns in a Super Bowl game. Fortunately, though, QBs can't play defense. They can't stop the other team from scoring. So it's unfortunate, but it was a great game. Hats off to the Eagles. Hell of a team. Really great game. On to Vegas. I love your name. Just put in the super chat. Thank you for that. Mike Glacier writes, have you seen Billions? Great character. No, I haven't seen Billions. And Paul Giamatti's in it. And I love Paul Giamatti, but I have never gotten around to watching it. I want to see this show. I'm just going to have to binge it sometime. Haskell writes, hey, John, good morning. Who did you watch the Super Bowl with? I love the look of the Falcon being brand new, but I am worried as not once did I feel like he was Han Solo. The way he talks, mannerisms, etc. I watched it with Anne and my brother-in-law Ray and my friend Ryan. We all got together here, had loads of food, and just hung tight at home and watched the Super Bowl. It was great. Again, nobody was going to be convinced that he's Solo unless he did a cheap Harrison Ford impersonation. That was the only way in a trailer he was going to convince people he was Solo, is if he did a cheap impersonation. That would not work for a movie. You would get tired of that really fast. We're going to have to see the movie, man. We're going to have to see the movie. But I also like the way they handled the Falcon. All that kind of stuff is really good. I'm encouraged by what I'm seeing out of Alden Ehrenreich. So it's not far away now. Just in May. It's coming soon. Mr. Manager writes, would you consider doing more video game movie reviews? I really enjoyed your video on The Last of Us. There are a lot of games I think you'd enjoy. Yes, I am going to do more. As a matter of fact, my next one is going to be The Witcher 3 is the next one I'm going to do. And then I'm going to do a bunch more, but you will see me doing more of the video game cutscene movie reviews. Because you know what? If you're not into it, guys, seriously, there's some really entertaining stuff on YouTube that are the video game cuts, where people take all the cutscenes of a game and edit them together into a movie format. And sometimes they're like 2 hours long, sometimes they're like 8 hours long. But and they can be really entertaining. They can be really fun to watch. And I've reviewed a couple of those, and I will review more in the future. Thanks for bringing that up, Mr. Manager. Adam K. writes, thoughts on the weekend box office? I'll be honest with you. I was so wrapped up in the Super Bowl, I didn't even look at the weekend box office. Let me pull it up here really quick. Box Office Mojo. Jumanji sneaking in there to the first place again. Good for Jumanji, making another $11 million. Jumanji has now made $855 million worldwide. Unbelievable. Greatest Showman, again in its 7th week, hanging in there in the top 5. Real nice. Great for Jumanji. Great for The Greatest Showman. Let's see. Which trailer won the Super Bowl? Infinity War or Mission Impossible Fallout? Neither. The first Solo trailer won the Super Bowl for me. Ali Hussein writes, and hey guys, guess what? I am not going to be able to finish. Well, maybe I can if I rush here. Okay, I'm going to try to rush through the last few questions here. Let's see. Ali Hussein writes, finally the Solo trailer came out. Help me out, John. Was that Maz Kanata 44 seconds in the trailer or not? As I said, guys, no, it was not. We can clearly see, as you can see, Ali Hussein in this screenshot. First of all, this person has 4 arms, and it's clearly more like a monkey kind of a face. It's got like a baby chimpanzee kind of a face. Anyway, it's clearly not Maz Kanata. But again, man, I was fooled too at first. I really was. Stig 100 900, 30 seconds, cost $5 million. Was it worth Mission Impossible spending $25 million for 2.5 minutes? I'm not sure if that was the final cost and if they would have charged a full $5 million, but I'll have to. And was it actually 2.5 minutes long? I'm not sure that it was 2.5 minutes long, to be honest with you. Let me just take a quick peek here. Where is the Mission Impossible trailer? Mission Impossible, the one that's online is 2.5 minutes long, so maybe it was. I don't know, man. I mean, that's the thing. Super Bowl is super expensive. And I did not hear it was $5 million for 30 seconds. I thought it was $2 million for 30 seconds. Whatever. I'll have to look that up. But hey, it's their marketing strategy. If they feel that that was worth it, then fine, it was worth it. It was a very good trailer. Like seeing it. And Will that trailer on the Super Bowl equate to $25 more million at the box office? We're going to have to wait and see. Jay Bling writes, I feel like you don't know John Krasinski directs A Quiet Place. Yeah, I do. I think everybody knows that at this point. Guru Lagima writes, video games being a unique storytelling format. Unique, yes, but not the most effective. Storytelling in video games has evolved a lot better than it used to be, but the video game format and the video game medium is not the most efficient or effective storytelling method. The focus of games is gameplay. You can have a great story in a game, but if you don't have good gameplay, it doesn't matter. If you have a bad story in a game, but fantastic gameplay, people will love the game. Gameplay is the center most important thing in a game, not storytelling. Storytelling helps, it adds to it, yes, but video games are not the prime most efficient or effective way or medium to tell a story. That doesn't mean you can't tell a decent story in it. You clearly can. It's just not the ideal format. Paul M. writes, could Han need a bodyguard? Could Han need a bodyguard, not want to pay them, so he sets up a scenario that puts Chewie in danger so Han can rescue... yeah. There's a little bit of a convoluted thought pattern and thought train you're following there, Paul. I think you're thinking into it a little bit too much, to be honest with you. But anything's possible. Anything's possible. Martin writes, Iron Man suit morphs Power Rangers style. Yeah, but he was doing it before the Power Rangers were really, cinematically at any rate. And I'm just going to fly through these last couple ones, guys. Only one Colby writes, how does one feel to have predicted the Eagles winning by 8? Well, I mean, I think most people, look, the Eagles overall were the overall better team. They were completely on fire. They had a ridiculous defense that I knew New England and Tom Brady could still score on. But the problem was Philadelphia's offense was really going to overwhelm New England's defense. You could see that from a mile away. So I knew it would be a track race. And I just knew that Philadelphia's offense would be able to completely overwhelm New England's inferior defense, to be honest with you, a little bit more than Brady could overwhelm Philadelphia's fantastic defense. So that was the basis for me, that it was going to be a track race, and Philadelphia was going to overwhelm New England's subpar defense a lot more than Brady could overwhelm Philadelphia's fantastic defense. And that's how, and yet it still came down to a last-second Hail Mary throw in the end zone. What a game. What a game. Mr. Manager writes, when Roger Moore took over as 007, people wanted him to do a Sean Connery impersonation. Instead, he made the role his own and became one of the definitive versions of the character. Perfect analogy, Mr. Manager. Perfect analogy. And, again, like I always go back to this one, but a lot of people, when they cast, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, everybody whined and complained. Everybody whined and complained. This Broadway singer dancer, he doesn't even look like Wolverine, blah, blah, blah. But he made it his own, right? Everybody whined and complained when they cast that Brokeback Mountain guy as Joker. They got the Brokeback Mountain guy as Joker? This is going to suck. And everybody... But he came in, didn't do a Jack impersonation. He just gave his own thing. Now, this is a little bit different because he is in the same continuity, right? This is the same Han Solo. But so was Chris Pine's Kirk. It was the same Kirk. And Pine and JJ made the decision, don't do a William Shatner impersonation. Capture the spirit of the character, but make him your own. And that's what they've got to do with Alden Ehrenreich. And that means if he does that right, it means he's not going to sell us in a trailer. We're going to have to see him in a movie, and that's an important distinction. Good point, Mr. Manager. And we go now to just the last couple ones here. Nathan writes, will Han's ex-wife Sana Solo from the canon show up? Well, again, there's a possibility that maybe we already did see her in there, right? There's a possibility that we already saw her in the trailer. The hair's a little bit different, but, you can change hairstyles over time, so maybe we already saw her. Don't know. Music Like says, just puts in a super chat to support me. Thank you so much. D. Walders writes, Dundee is not a movie, John. The Facebook page changed it to a tourism page. I've been saying it's not a movie since it came out. Okay, so thank you for repeating what I have already been saying. But yeah. Kevin Newman writes, I don't see an Ace Ventura in Solo. Good. Okay. Interesting comparison. Devontae Brown writes, no mention of Maze Runner's box office. I mean, there's, what's the point? I mean, it came $10 million. It did exactly what we were expecting. It's not exactly a news headline story, Devontae. I mean, really. I mean, it did what we thought it would do, and there it is. I mean, I also didn't mention Winchester. I also didn't mention Hostiles. No knock on them, and just nothing really to talk about there. It whimpered in, made $10 million. Well, to be fair, that was its second week, and it's made like $39 million overall. And it did really great. I mean, the thing about Maze Runner, it does great worldwide. I mean, it's already made like 170. Actually, to be fair, let me look at the exact number here. 182 million worldwide. I mean, it's not doing well in North American offices, but we didn't expect it to. But it's done great worldwide. And it'll continue to worldwide. It's got a worldwide audience, man. All right, guys, that will do it for this installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for joining me here today and being a part of it. I know I went about 20 minutes over time, but, you know, I really wanted to get into the Super Bowl spots. I really wanted to talk about those solar trailers. So thanks for coming along for the ride with me, guys. Of course, as always, jump down to the comment section. Leave your thoughts on any or all the trailers that we talked about here today. Click the thumbs up button. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Keeping up to date on everything I do here today. We crossed over 100,000 subscribers, but we got a whole lot of room for a whole lot more of you. Click the subscribe button. And of course, guys, just follow me on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can see right there, just at John Campea. That'll do it for me, guys. Thanks so much for joining me. My name's John Campea, and until my next video, bye-bye.